the nurses that were coming to visit us said, why don't you consider going to the hospice? And I have to say, we both were kind of alarmed, and if we were thinking, are they telling us something we don't know? Like, is he at death's door or something? And why are they suggesting the hospice?
As Arlene rightly said, you know, you think of hospice and you just think last days. You know, you don't, well, I wasn't briefed enough. Even when they're saying hospice, they're not saying to you what to expect or what the hospice is or anything. They just left it to your own imagination. And my imagination was the fact if you're going to the hospice, then you're on your way out, basically.
I've always thought that that's where they stay and they don't come out. That's where they die, you know. So, yeah, I thought end of life was what it meant. And it was very scary, very scary.
Not whilst you was it, not whilst I was in there.
No, but I think also you kind of, I don't know if you think this, Anthony, but I always saw hospice also for the more older people. I never thought they'd put a young person in a hospice. Hospice always meant old and dying. That's what it meant to me. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But what you get to realize is that when you're sick, you're sick. It's got nothing to do with age or old or color or anything like that. It's just sickness, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The icebreaker for me, I must have been having a meal, and one of the nurses said, would you like a drink? I said, yeah, can I have a couple of Stellas? And she came with the Stellas. And I was like, oh wow, I was really confused because I didn't know it was that kind of party. I just thought, so when she said like she was gonna get it, I just thought, yeah, whatever. Do you know? And then she came back with 2 cans of Stellas. And like at that point there, we were like best buddies.
That was nice. We actually thought they were joking. And whilst Anthony does like the odd beer, he couldn't drink it anyway when he was there. He kept saying no thanks, it's okay.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
But I know, but it was, and I think that was it made you feel like you were at home. You weren't sort of in this sterile environment, which meant that you could only have one glass of orange juice. Be lucky if you could ask for a second one. Do you know what I mean? It really did make you feel like you were quite at home.
And they would feed you as well.
Yeah, and they also fed me whilst I was there. So that was really refreshing. If you can only imagine not seeing your partner only briefly, and I can only think brief moments of having Anthony at home with me between sort of late February to July. So we had very brief moments of being together and not always being 100%, and then mainly being sick and being worried and scared, and then he's in hospital. And when lockdown started last year, it was just daunting to the whole entire world. And what you just didn't imagine was that you wouldn't be able to see your partner and he's sick and he's in hospital and you can't be there. Being able to go into the hospice, it was so refreshing. It actually made me feel better within myself. I could support him, even if it meant just sitting with him all day and not even talking, and we would just sit and watch TV or something. That was really good for me, and I also saw an improvement in Anthony's recovery.
As soon as I stopped vomiting and being sick, maybe after 3 or 4 days, I was allowed to come home, and touch wood, it hasn't come back since.
I'm made of wood.
So it was really amazing.
I do think if it wasn't for St. Catherine's, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. Anthony would still be quite poorly and going in and out of hospital.
Thank you. I think first and foremost.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I expect it can't be easy for them either.
Yeah, for sure. I would say salute. I'd say I mean, yeah, I think they changed my whole aspect of what a hospice is, and I feel a little bit more confident about what that environment may give any one of us now. I don't feel scared about hospice now. As we've gone along, we've had to try and appreciate life for what it is and be grateful. We're going to plan, we're going to do the things we've always wanted to do, one of which is to get married. I thank God for St. Catherine's every day. I really do. So I really did find them helpful, and I'd love to be able to give that to somebody else, because I'm sure we're not the only young couple that's going through something like this, and they may benefit from someone who's been through this before.